after pleading guilty earlier this year to helping the Sinaloa drug cartel. The wife of imprisoned Mexican drug kingpin Joaquin El Chapo Guzman was sentenced to 3 years in prison on Tuesday by a U.S. judge. Before being sentenced, 32-year-old Emma Coronel Aspuro pleaded with the U.S. district judge to show her mercy, saying in Spanish through an interpreter, quote, "With all due respect, I address you today to express my true regret for any and all harm that I may have done, and I ask that you and all the citizens of this country forgive me." In June, Coronel pleaded guilty to 3 counts of conspiring to distribute illegal drugs, conspiring to launder money, and of engaging in financial dealings with the Sinaloa drug cartel. Her defense attorney Jeffrey Lichtman spoke to the media after the sentencing, saying his client was swept into the world of drug trafficking while still a minor and deserved mercy.
Her role was simply to be the wife. That's what her role was, period. The guidelines reflect somebody who's involved in a very large conspiracy of which they're a very tiny person. And that's what the fact showed. That's what the judge saw, it's what the government saw, and we've been saying this from the beginning.
Coronel, a U.S.-born former beauty queen, married Guzman while she was a teenager. She was arrested at Dulles International Airport outside Washington in February. As part of her plea agreement with prosecutors, Coronel admitted to acting as a courier between Guzman and other members of the Sinaloa cartel, while he was being held in Mexico's Altiplano prison following his 2014 arrest. Guzman used those communications to plan his 2015 escape from the prison through an underground tunnel built by the cartel leading to the shower in his cell. The drug lord was recaptured in January 2016 and extradited 1 year later to the United States. He was convicted in February 2019 of drug trafficking, conspiracy, kidnapping, murder, and other charges, and later sentenced to life in prison.
The New York Mets on Monday were finalizing a record-setting deal with 8-time All-Star pitcher Max Scherzer. Scherzer's 3-year contract is reported to be worth $130 million, putting his average annual salary at over $43 million, the highest in Major League Baseball history. Scherzer's deal ends rampant speculation over where the highly sought-after 37-year-old would land, with numerous MLB franchises rumored to have courted the 3-time Cy Young Award winner. The right-handed ace picked up a World Series title with the Washington Nationals in 2019 and has pitched 2 no-hitters in his career. He's hoping for similar success with the Mets, who started on a high last season but suffered a meltdown with a losing record in the second half, frustrating fans who had hoped for a fresh start with new owner, billionaire Steve Cohen, taking over a year ago. Cohen, a hedge fund manager, went on a shopping spree late last week, signing 3 other free agents, including 2-time Gold Glove Award-winning outfielder Starling Marte. But Scherzer is the feather in his cap, providing a 1-2 punch at the top of the pitching rotation with fellow ace Jacob deGrom that Mets fans hope will propel the team to its first World Series title since 1986. The Mets did not immediately respond to a request for comment, but posted #LGM to their Twitter account, an acronym that stands for Let's Go Mets.
For the first time in more than 10 years, and before the ceremony he hit back at the Ballon d'Or organiser, who claimed his only ambition was to end his career with more wins than Messi. Ronaldo released this statement on Instagram. He said today's outcome explains why Pascal Ferre's statements last week, when he stated that I confided in him that my only ambition was to finish my career with more golden balls than Lionel Messi. Pascal Ferre lied. He used my name to promote himself and to promote the publication that he works for. It's unacceptable that the person responsible for awarding such a prestigious prize could lie in this way, in absolute disrespect for someone who has always respected French football and the Ballon d'Or. I always want to congratulate those who win within the sportsmanship and fair play that have guided my career since the beginning. I do it because I'm never against anyone.
Wall Street took a beating for the second time in 3 sessions as health crisis jitters and interest rate worries spooked investors. Tuesday's sell-off put the finishing touches on what was a down month for the Dow and the S&P 500. Looking at Tuesday's closing action, the Dow slumped 652 points, the S&P 500 lost 88, the Nasdaq fell 245. Wall Street followed the weak tone set in Europe after the head of drug maker Moderna told the Financial Times that existing COVID-19 vaccines would be less effective against the Omicron variant. But the selling really picked up after Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell told the Senate Banking Committee it was time for the Federal Reserve to pull back some of its support for the economy.
We now look at an economy that's very strong and inflationary pressures that are high, and that means it's appropriate, I think, for us to discuss at our next meeting, which is in a couple weeks, whether it will be appropriate to wrap up our purchases a few months earlier.
The Fed had been buying $120 billion in bonds each month to help prop up the economy. Powell also said it was time to retire the word transitory when referring to the current inflation surge. Greg Hahn, Chief Investment Officer at Winthrop Capital Management, said Powell's testimony was a needed change in tone, even if it caught the markets off guard.
The Fed has to remove its bond purchase program before they can move interest rates higher. That's our view of how they'll start to unwind the stimulative monetary policy. So getting the bond purchase program out of the way quicker is going to set a path for the Fed to start to move interest rates higher, potentially by June of next year.
The thought of a less accommodative Fed, just as investors face the uncertainty of a new COVID-19 variant, was too much for Wall Street to take at the same time. Oil prices dropped sharply. Crude oil fell 4.5% to less than $67 a barrel, to lows not seen since August.